And it's the end of another week and the end of another month, so it's time for another weekly update of what I've read so far and some channel updates along the way and some health updates. I actually lost my voice last week. I've lost it for about 4 or 5 days. I was starting to come back Saturday, yesterday, and then I started playing a video game, and within 4 hours, I started losing my voice again. So I might be entering round 2 of a week of half a voice. So I'm looking forward to it, sort of, because I'm going to be taking a couple more days off next week, hopefully to get some more reading done, to get some more video games done and stuff like that, and some channel work along the way, because we're in December, folks, and the end of the year. There's always an exercise I like to do at the end of the year where I like to create a list of things I'd like to try to achieve. So I got to work towards that in the next 4 weeks. I got some things that I need to still try to accomplish from this year, 2024, the list of top 10, and I'll talk about that maybe at the end of the month, do a little bit of a recap for my own journaling purposes, and just to give some context as to just things that have been going on with the channel and will go on with the future of the channel, etc, etc, etc. So let's get started before I actually lose my voice halfway through this. As soon as I start talking, everything starts to go dry, and then I start to sound like I'm going through puberty again. So we have Ian Rankin up first. This is one of the books of 15 that I got from Ian Rankin in my thrift haul runs for the last week and a half-ish. I went to 2 different thrift shops, and I picked up 15, Ian Rankin books. So thankfully I got the first one, the chunky one, but it's 3 novels in here. His first 3 novels, Knots and Crosses, Hide and Seek, and Tooth and Nail. And I immediately read the first novel in the first night that I had this book. So, because I want to get a sense for Ian Rankin as a writer. This is a crime, mystery, I guess thriller. I'm not sure. It's a genre I have never really read, unless it was part of like some sci-fi genre or some cyberpunk genre or some, you know what I'm saying? Like it was always part of some sort of fusion genre story that I was reading or something like that. But this is like grounded real world mystery crime fiction, and I have to say I enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4-star on Goodreads because I went in maybe under expecting things, and it sort of over delivered in its simplicity. And that's, I think, what I want to say as a takeaway for Knots and Crosses is the structure of the story was so sound that I really did appreciate the story crafting, I guess, the style and skill of setting up foreshadows. And I know that's a very much a staple of crime fiction, mystery fiction, etc. But in this particular case, I don't know, for some reason the story structure really stood out to me, maybe because of that simplicity. And I have to say there was almost a noir feeling behind the story. Even though it was set in the modern times, it felt like it was like the 30s and 40s, grit, shadows, rain, whiskey, cigarettes, sexual interactions, but with middle-aged people. It was just fascinating to see something that almost transplanted what I would expect from a 1940s noir fic to modern crime fiction storytelling. So I'm kind of looking forward to Hide and Seek and Tooth and Nail. I might be giving these a shot maybe this month. I'm not sure. Is this also a TBR update video at this point? Or because I'm doing these weekly, it's sort of like a mix of everything because it makes it maybe easier because me my voice, man. It makes it easier for me because I pivot so much during a week. I'm just jumping around between a bunch of different things that I feel like this kind of update format makes the most sense. So I might be trying these 2 novels as a TBR for December. We'll see. It's sort of an organic list as I go week to week. The next book I ended up going through was Dissolving Classroom by Junji Ito. I am on a Junji Ito tear right now. I do want to get through the rest of those Junji Ito books, possibly by the end of the year. We'll see how well I do over the next 4 weeks. This was a relatively small read, right, compared to the other ones I've been reading. What can I say about this one? I think I gave it a 3 stars. I really like Junji Ito, don't get me wrong, but like I'm getting more critical, I guess, of his storytelling format. I'm sort of getting a sense of where he's got his strong suits and where he's got his weaknesses, you know. And this is a particular case where it goes back to like the Remina idea that I just read, the Remina, right? And the idea of like the sticky note framework. I don't know, I'm just coming up with these terms, but it's like there's an idea he has, and then he just like pushes it, and he did it really well. And Uzumaki was an amazing example of him doing that very well, and it's a pretty robust story. Like it's all these like little stories, they interweave and spiral around each other, and I see what I did there, into a like an epic idea that is just strange, but it works because that consistency makes sense to the story. Like Geo was another example of like an idea of like the fish coming out of the sea and blah blah blah, and like the idea was there, it was one idea, but it felt flat. It didn't really pan out the way I would have anticipated it to work out. But then when he does like these one-shot stories, he does them really good, and they feel weird and they're creepy, and they kind of have a vibe to them, you know. But then there's like Dissolving Classroom is almost an example of that, where there's an idea, someone who gets off on apologizing because he's made a connection with the devil. This is where his ideas are great. They're great because they're so odd. And his sister, I mean, loves licking up melted brains. These are melted brains, by the way, if you don't know. But anyways, and she's sort of a manifestation of that evil. And so both of them together are sort of anyways, it's a weird combo that sort of circles that idea. But the idea itself, I feel, just doesn't really work for me. And this story, it was just weird. It was weird, but not, it was maybe on the lower side of the weirdness, and it didn't really work for me. It was lucky it got a 3. I don't think it was bad. It wasn't a 2, you know what I mean? But was it maybe a 2.5 that rolled up to a 3? Yes. His art does get very creepy in this one. Like, it really starts to look like the Junji Ito I would expect. And so I have to give him cred for that. But the ideas didn't really land. The idea, because that's what I'm trying to get to, is like the idea of it didn't really land on me. And the dissolving classroom, I'm not sure about this title either. I mean, it starts with this guy coming to this classroom, and he dissolves the classroom because he's apologizing profusely all the time. And then he has to like leave cities because he has to like people, so he can't get caught because people keep disappearing or melting away. Or she ends up doing some crazy crap that like puts him in the spotlight and they gotta bail. But then the classroom idea goes away. It has nothing to do with the classroom. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is kind of didn't hold together altogether. That was a good enough sentence for me to move on. It wasn't good at all. Which takes me to Deserter. Now, I'm currently reading Deserter. I am almost done because it's backwards, right? So I'm about, 60% of the way through Deserter. Amazing. I'm not done the book yet, but it's at least a 4 for me. And it might creep into a 5. I'm not sure. But this is an example again where he's got the singular ideas, but you know why they work here? Because they're about 10 to 20 pages long each. And it's an anthology of creepy, singular ideas that stand alone and are good alone. Now, if you start to expand on that, as he does on at least 3 or 4 of the other examples I've already read of his, it sometimes works like Uzumaki. Sometimes it's weak like Geo. Sometimes it's not very strong at all like Dissolving Classroom. But this is an example of why I actually, this is an example of how I love my Junji Ito. Short bits. It's almost like flash fic manga. That's what he's amazing at. Flash fic horror manga. Gets the point across. It's a sticky note idea, but it's just enough for that one flash fic manga drop, and you're just like, oh god damn, like that was crazy. Maybe you can sometimes see where it's going, and that's okay, because then it's over. It's not like you see where it's going and then you have another 90% of a manga to read, a collection to read. It's over, and you're like, that was creepy, that was good, that's what's the next one, right? And then I find myself wanting to read the next one because I know it's going to be over, and I can go to the next one, and I know it's going to be, you see what I'm saying? So that's how this works for me. So what else can I say about it? Because I'm not done. Well, nothing else. I'm just kind of giving you an update on what I'm reading currently this week and what I'd likely get through maybe by tomorrow. Deserter will be done, and I'm thinking this might be a 4, if not a 5. If it's a 4.5, it might roll up to a 5 because the art is exactly the kind of Uzumaki that I imagine to have come to expect. I was going to say that I've come to expect. I'm like, no, I'm just kind of getting into it. But there's a sort of look and feel that I want out of I said Uzumaki, out of my Junji Ito. Bam, bam. So if this is a 4.5, I'm going to roll it up to a 5. Okay, so there's that one. I'm still cracking through Christopher Moore's Lamb. I got through another 2 chapters. I know it's slow rolling because I'm kind of flipping between these other books, and it's near my reading chair as well. But it's one of those where I'm like, I just need a break, and I just want to read one chapter because I'm really tired. And so this is the book I go to. And it's not because it's terrible. This really should be a 4 right now. I'm almost 50% of the way through, and this feels like it could be a 4, but currently it's probably a 3 for me. Not because it's not compelling as an idea. It's really fun. It's Imagine the Gospel, because it's the gospel according to Biff, Christ's childhood pal. It's very much this. Imagine you go through the gospel and you just go book to book, and you go, what's the point of this book? What's the story it's trying to tell? And then Christopher Moore turns it into a chapter that's written in a very grounded, I can't really explain it, in a really grounded comedic approach of like 2 teenagers, early 20s, kind of going through life, and Biff kind of going, hey, I remember this story being different, and sometimes these other apostle dudes, they cut me out of the story, but I was like, I was there. I know how things actually went. And so Christopher Moore kind of takes those ideas and then turns it into something, that turns into this, which is extremely amusing, I must say. If I had to speculate where this would fall right now, where I'm at, this is a weird way to rate, but I'm thinking a 3, but it really should be a 4. So if it's 3.5 and the last half really gets me, yeah, it might go into a 4. But the first 2 phases out of 4, so Act 1 and halfway through the Act 2, it's fun. It's fun, but it's kind of like a casual fun that I don't feel compelled to keep returning to because I have to finish the book, that kind of thing. It feels like something that if this was on TV and it was a weekly episodic show and each chapter was an episode that aired on Sunday night, that's kind of how I consume Lamb right now. And that takes me to a book that I haven't gone any further in, which is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I'm still on page 70, 60, where the whole ensemble moment happens. For those of you familiar with Mistborn, and the reason why I haven't really gone further with this is because I don't know how I want to proceed with this one. I feel like I want to do a vlog of the reading of this trilogy, right? The entire trilogy. But I feel like it'll be maybe difficult because they're novels and they take me longer to sort of read through. So I'm going to have a camera rolling for hours on end for the day, and it's going to amount to very little footage. And I'm not sure how. I know I've seen vlogs of people doing reading vlogs and going through the entire book, and it turns into like 20-minute video. And I'm like, how? How did you do that? Like, how did you not have anything to say for 700 pages of books? Like that I feel like this would turn into a 5 or 6 hour video for me. And I'm not sure if that really works on YouTube anymore. Maybe it would have worked like 5 years ago or 10 years ago when this was kind of fresh. But I'm not sure if it works anymore. And so I don't know if it's worth the production time of me going into a trilogy like this, very meaty trilogy, but also turning it into a production, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to this. What is this, a sixth of the way through? And I feel like this is probably a 5-star for me. But I really want to figure out how I want to produce this as a memory. I'm not even going to say as a production for an audience, like as a memory. Do I want to have the same feeling and experience with this as I've been loving with my Attack on Titan experience, right? I love the Attack on Titan experience more because I do it as a book vlog, or I started it as an analysis vlog, and now it's a book vlog, and now I don't know what it's going to be. But that exploration is fun to me, but it's easier to do because it's a manga. You know what I'm saying? Catch what I'm saying? So I don't know what to do with this. If you have any ideas, let me know down below. I can do it as a marathon. I just don't know how I would record that. I've never done something like that grandness where you record a bunch of clips for like a week, and then I put that together into a 20, 30, 40, 1 hour, minute, 1 hour. Jesus, it's like my throat is impacting my brain at this point. Like 1 hour. I see this possibly, if I were to do this as a reading vlog, it's going to be 1 to 1 hour and a half long. Let me know what you think. And that's what I have to say about that. That's been my reading for the week. As you can see, I'm kind of reading these right now. Do I have another one out there? I don't. I thought I had 4 books on the go. Oh, right. Plus the 2 in here. So these 2, I don't know if I'll probably read 1 over next week. I'll probably try to finish Deserter next week, and then Christopher Moore. I'm thinking I'll probably get another 4 chapters in. And then Mistborn, I'm gonna see if maybe I get some feedback or do some research out there to see how other people have done reading vlogs and maybe get some ideas from there, and then I'll decide what to do with that. So there you go. And I can already feel my voice starting to give out. I'm not sure if I missed talking on about any other topics or updates, but if you have any questions or comments along the way, you want to know other perspectives I have, or you have questions that you want me to address in the next weekly update, then maybe that will also feed into what these updates can be about, right? It's just me trying to connect with people who are here and want to see things. I actually went to start Steins Gate again, which is when I lost my voice. So the curse of Steins Gate is upon us, everybody. It's just like I can't seem to get this game going without something happening to my health that knocks me out. I might still try to play it today. I'm not sure. I just came off of a 6-hour gaming session from last night and this morning. I continued it, and that's what knocked out my voice for the second time. So I'm not sure if I'll push it. Maybe I will rest a little bit more, but just know Steins Gate is coming to the channel. It's one of the next games that I want to focus on, to be honest, over December. But I'm going to ramble on more and more if I don't just wrap this up and get this out the door. So let's just do that. I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, buddy. Peace.